Hey, gun people. Gonna talk about, I got a question about, can you shoot a guy in the back? Hi, Moki. Moki's protesting for my release. You tell him, Moki. You tell YouTube, let me out of jail. So, I'm gonna do one on, a guy asked me a question about, a guy pickpocketed me and took my wallet and got away. I drew down on him and he kept going. And he was wondering if he could shoot him in the back. And then one of my viewers says, well, you should ask your CCW, concealed carry weapons, or, you know, concealed handgun license, or authorized to carry, or whatever. They told them different names. But one of my viewers said, you should ask the person that gave you your permit for your gun that question, not Rick. Well, let me tell you about, first of all, who they get to do these CCWs. Okay, all they require is an NRA instructor course. And, you know, I've already been through the FBI in California and the military, and I'm an instructor in all those agencies and certified to be a firearms instructor for all those different jurisdictions, so to speak. So, in Texas, to teach CCW, they want you to have, none of that mattered. They want me to have NRA. So I went to this NRA to get my NRA instructor certificate. Man, there were people that passed that instructor class that I don't even think they should have been carrying a gun, much less teaching other people how to carry a gun. So that was a joke. I mean, the NRA instructor course, to get an instructor, I forgot how many hours it was, 4 or 5 days maybe, but I mean, it was a joke. It was more about pushing the NRA on your students than it was about fundamentals and actually being competent, and you go out the range and as long as you hit the target maybe a few times out of 100, whatever. I mean, it was just, to me it was a joke. Now obviously I've been through a lot more advanced firearm training and firearm instructors, so the NRA isn't what I would consider your state-of-the-art tactical, but it was a joke to get an NRA instructor certificate. So I went to the class, got my certificate, and moved on. But don't think that just because somebody is instructing you and they're certified by the state, which is the government, don't think that they are the answer or they know everything. Most of the instructors that teach that have never probably pulled their gun, never made an arrest, never testified in court, never been to court, never had to defend their actions in court, never had to use force, never had to do any of that stuff. None of that's required to be an instructor. So before you ask somebody for an opinion, you ought to be able to verify kind of what their opinion is, and don't just take for granted that because this guy was an FBI agent, he may have been an attorney in the FBI and they gave him the agent status and he's never made an arrest. And now he says, well, I was in the FBI and if you make an arrest, you need to do this and you need to do that. He probably never made a damn arrest in his life. Most FBI agents never make an arrest. So, I mean, be careful on who you validate. I mean, I didn't take it personally that she said you should ask your CCW, not me. I didn't think she was cracking her heat. I think it was she. I didn't think it was cracking on me. I was just like, look, don't put somebody on a pedestal, including me, just because they have a lot of training and experience. It has to be reasonable. You're going to have to justify your actions on what you did, why you did it. And you're not going to be able to say, well, when I went through the concealed carry class, that's what the instructor told me, so that's what I did. That shit's going to hold not even enough to buy a cup of coffee. You're going to be weak. So this question I thought was pretty valid. What do I need to do, or could I have shot him in the back? I said several times you can shoot people in the back all the time. I don't have a problem with shooting somebody back. It's got to be justified and you got to be able to say it was reasonable. If a guy has a gun and he's just shot somebody and he's running away with a gun, shooting him in the back is protecting other people. It's reasonable that if he just shot this person, he's going to probably shoot other people. He could turn around and shoot me. I'm shooting him in the back. So, and I think that would be perfectly justified. But I can articulate why I think that, case law that I've studied, things where cops have shot. I mean, shit, the biggest example of shooting people back that you have to refer to is the government. The government clears cops for shooting people in the back 99.999% of the time. When have you heard of a cop, any government agent, getting charged for shooting someone in the back? Never. I've never heard of it. So you need to realize on how you need to justify what you do. Now, property crimes are iffy. In California, you cannot shoot somebody for a property crime. They can come in and steal everything. You can't shoot them. You can shoot somebody in Texas for protecting your property. If it's at nighttime, if you can justify that you didn't think you had a reason to get it back, if the person came on your property and is committing certain crimes, I think it's a burglary, robbery, sexual assault, arson. There's a few other crimes that if somebody comes on your property, you can shoot them, no problem. But you got to be able to justify it for what the law in your jurisdiction says. Now, a pickpocketing in some jurisdictions is not as serious as others. Is a pickpocketing robbery? That's debatable. And in California, a pickpocketing is anytime you take personal property off the person of another. That's considered grand theft. It's a higher felony than theft. So if I lay my tablet on a table and I'm standing next to the table and a guy takes it and I don't see it, that would be theft. If I'm standing there and I'm looking at my tablet and a guy comes up and grabs it while I'm looking at it, now it's grand theft because it was taken from my person or my immediate present, which raises the likelihood of a violent encounter or some sort of resistance causing force to be used by the aggressor or the suspect or by the victim, me. So when you do a crime that increases the chance of violence, your ability to use violence against that perpetrator goes up. So when a guy pickpockets you, he's taken property from your immediate presence, which is likely to provoke a violent response. To prevent that, that is grand theft. Is it robbery? Robbery is defined taking property by force or fear. So now you would get into arguing, when he lifted your wallet, was he using force? I think the courts would say force more means aggressively pulling and grabbing or ripping a purse from your arm. If a woman has her purse over her thing and somebody comes up and grabs it and she struggles, now we have robbery. He's using force to pull that from her struggle. That's robbery. That's not pickpocketing. If a guy walks up, gets your wallet out, gets it, and starts walking away, there was no force there. So is that a robbery? I think it would depend on your law. You would have to find out what the definition of robbery is versus grand theft versus whatever. So could you shoot somebody in the back for doing that? My initial response is no. And here's where I have a problem. And I got my timer set 15 minutes so I can post this and stop posting on my horse channel, getting complaints that this isn't about horses. Why are you posting it on the horse channel? So at 15 minutes when the beeper goes off, I got to end it. So I'm talking fast. So if somebody takes my wallet, I have to say that it was a robbery or it was a theft, or I have to justify why I felt when you use deadly force, you're using that force which has reasonably caused death and or seriously bodily injury. So when he took my wallet and he's walking away, how can I justify and get to that standard? Now, the guy said my wallet had my bank information, it had my address, now he can come to my house. Well, that might get you closer. If I was a cop and a guy who stole it said, HIV, you're dead motherfucker, when he walked away with my wallet, I think I'm much closer to shooting him because now in my mind I have a fear he's going to come back. He knows where I live. He is going to be a threat. But I would still have to get over the hurdle of, was the threat immediate? We've had people shoot people, and this happens a lot with beaten wife syndrome, or, you know, I love my husband, if you didn't love me, you wouldn't beat me. Whatever, the ignorance out there, a lot of times women will shoot the guy when they're leaving, and it's like, where was the immediate threat? He was leaving. So then they'll come in and play the woman card and go, well, she was abused her whole life and she ate a Twinkie and we got a Twinkie defense and it was that time of the month and she's not responsible. And you got to treat women different because they're mothers and they got boobies and they got menstrual problems and they can't be equal. But wait a minute, when it comes to everything else, they're equal. But in the law, when women commit crimes against them, it's not equal, believe me. So there's a double standard, there's a standard that you have to get over. When you shoot someone in the back, you have to be able to articulate, I shot him in the back because he was a threat to others. He said he's going to my house, he's got my address now, and he's going to kill my kids. He's going to kill my wife. he's going to come tonight and kill me. As he walked away with my wallet, when he said that, I thought the threat was immediate. I shot him. You're all in good, you're raising your ability to justify your actions. But to just do it, and the way this guy wrote it, it was a quick question. I don't know all the detail. He just said the guy got my wallet as he was going away. I drew my gun on him, told him to stop, and he didn't stop. I was wondering if I could shoot him. I don't know all the facts, but if you had some other facts, you know, the day before that, a guy sent me a letter and goes, you know what? You're dead, motherfucker. I'm going to kill you. And you know how I'm going to prove you kill me? I'm going to let you sweat it. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a guy steal your fucking wallet from you, and then you're going to sweat it. The next day, I'm going to kill you. Now, when you get your wallet stolen the next day, you have this email. Can you shoot him in the back? Again, you're a lot closer to that standard. You're a lot higher on the ladder of the escalation ladder to be able to justify that force. But again, we can't do that at a willy-nilly, well, my CCW said I could do it. Or, you know, I watched Rick's video and he said you could shoot people in the back, so I shot him in the back. That shit ain't gonna cut it. Let me check my time here to make sure. I'm kind of paranoid. Make sure I started it. Okay, I got 2 minutes. So, things to consider always when you use force. You have to be able to justify it in your state. I can tell you what California says, I can tell you what Texas says, but if you live in Alabama, Oklahoma, it doesn't matter. You have to know your state law, your state requirements for using force. Can you use deadly force to protect your property? If you can, under what circumstances? Texas allows you to use it improperly, but they put restrictions on it. It's got to be at nighttime. It's got to be from your place. You have to be reasonable that you're not going to be able to get your property back. So a guy comes to my property, jumps on my bike, and he's riding off on my bike. I could shoot him in Texas because I doubt if I want to get my bike back. He came on my property and he committed burglary. Burglary is defined by entering a building, structure, place with the intent to commit a felony. He came in and committed this theft. Is the bike a felony? We would have to get into that. How much is the bike worth? What's the limit for felony? In California, the limit is $400. If you steal something for $399, it's not a felony. If it costs $401, it is a felony. So you have to know these standards in the law. It sounds really complicated, but if you just look up the section of statute, it's pretty clear. So the question is, can you shoot somebody back for pickpocketing? Most 99% of people are going to say, no way, absolutely not, don't do it. And that would probably be right, but it's not absolute. That's why answering legal questions, horse questions the same way, you can't give an absolute answer, yes or no, because there's no absolutes, it's fluid. There's too many varying circumstances, too many different degrees, different definitions of words, different laws, that you need to be at least familiar with. So when you make your decision, you can later articulate it, or your lawyer can articulate it, as being reasonable, and a person with your same training, experience, and knowledge would make that same conclusion, and then that would be reasonable. Alright? So hopefully, that's not 15 minutes, and we'll end that there. Moki, you're a good kitty! Thanks for setting Dad free!